Okay, so hang on. All right, so good morning. This is Betteridge Day, and I was just going through some of the folks just jumping on here. So I want to introduce everyone, and we've got a great group of people coming from different places. So we started in Alaska with David, and David's in Seward, Alaska. And what's the weather like in Seward, Alaska there, David?
Actually, we're on like a 30-day stretch of good weather, and I think there's one sunny day and one rainy day, and that's it.
Okay, outstanding. All right,
Yeah,
that's good. Good stuff.
57 degrees.
You've been sharing some really cool videos. Thanks for those of just the amazing mountains and the rivers and everything like that. And I think you were out there fishing. Was that like a week or so ago? You were fishing one of the rivers?
The ocean actually, and
Okay.
I got my limit 6 sockeye salmon in
Damn.
one day.
Wow.
Everyone had fish that day. Yeah, I got a freezer full of salmon now, and it's a little bit harder now, but the whole point is here at subsistence living, a lot of it, so people
Sure.
try and go grocery shopping out on the ocean when they can. So.
I love it. Very cool. Very cool. So I'm going to jump over here to Norway. Steiner, you said you just did a 30-kilometer bike ride this morning. Tell us about the bike ride.
Yeah, it's my daily trip. I love to do it along the fjord we have here.
Okay.
So then I get a good view of the fjord, and yeah, it's not so hard because it's pretty flat.
Sure.
But I like it.
Yeah, well, I can tell. You can see on your face that you love it. You do 30 kilometers every day, so you're doing about an hour and a half cycling?
No, I mix between this and the treadmill.
Okay.
So some days I take the treadmill.
Okay.
So that's about 1 hour.
Got it. Okay. Outstanding. All right. And sometimes you do it in the treadmill in the gym, and then other times you get out on the cycle and get some of that really good, I call it Scandinavian Viking air, right?
Yeah, you can say that.
For sure.
If the weather is good like today, then I used to do the training outside.
Right.
If it's bad weather, I do the treadmill.
Got it. Okay. All right. And Sabrina, I see you got a great background. It looks like a red door behind you, but it's really cool.
Sorry. Yeah, it's my orange office. I have an orange and hot pink office.
I love it.
Hello, Sabrina.
Perfect colors.
Good morning, Steiner, or good afternoon, I should say.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a blend of bold, bright colors. And
I love it.
Sometimes when people come in, they're like, whoa.
Right.
But it stimulates my creative activity, my thinking. So.
Sure. So how did you find that? Okay, because I love people that go with whatever, I don't like go with the flow. I love flow concept, but most people go with the flow. They take it as this, willy-nilliness, no purpose in life. You found something that really juiced you up and kind of sparked you. And so how did you find that?
Like find the colors. I don't know. It's like, I just kind of went to, the hardware store, and a color that actually kind of brought or attracted me, I should say. And I went with that. And then I couldn't decide between 2 colors. And so I blended them, and then I blended other things in my office, but I am always in constant change. I hate boredom. So I always implement new ideas, or the thing is, the rest of my house, I have imported wallpaper from England.
Okay.
And that's kind of different too for American standards. So everyone's like, oh, okay, you have orange and now you have this.
Sure.
And so
it's so British.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, I have a little European vibe too, huh, Steiner?
Sure. Yeah, there you go. All good. And let's see. I see RK is on here from India, but I don't know if he's actually got his camera on. And I saw, let's see, Linda was on here just a second ago. Linda,
Dave, can I say something before we start?
Sure.
Because I have watched the replay of the last session, so.
Sure.
And I must say I could relate to some of the things that you were talking about last time about when I was up north in the military, up north in Norway, and then and also on Svalbard island above Norway, but it's also Norway, and it had been used also by the Russians. When we was up there, the light was it was dark all the time. If it was in the winter,
sure,
it just a bright light about noon, and the rest was dark.
Okay.
So we felt very tired when it always was dark.
Sure.
And it also started to snow in August.
Wow.
Jeez.
But I think it was one of the best summers I had up north in Norway.
Tell us why.
No, because the weather was outstanding and it was a summer. But when it comes to winter, then you get it back in the face with the darkness all the time.
Got it.
No
Okay.
light.
So because of the latitude, because you were so far up, really on the more of almost actually on the top of the planet, if you will, close to the pole. So you had these real extreme, kind of like Alaska has, where you have these really, really long days during certain parts of the year. Don't you go almost 20 plus hours with light, David? Yeah.
Yeah. As you can tell, it's 5:30 in the morning. I have the shade shut, but the light's poking through.
Sure.
Typically, I haven't got up my dark curtains yet, but my sleep's been a little off because you're energized and it's 10 at night and you're like, oh, I thought it was 6. So you're really thrown off.
Right.
And then the light comes in at 4:30 in the morning, 4. It's already bright. So he's right. The sun, here's the horizon sun will do this, especially in Fairbanks. It'll dip below real quick. And then in the winter, here's 10 a.m. It rides straight across 3 p.m.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Just more, you don't have the normal cycles like you do when you're farther down the latitude, you know.
It's extremes. And you got to watch your, people have to watch their, I don't want to say personality, but they have to watch their body reaction to, I grew up with that, so I'm kind of used to it, but people are not from here. They're just not sure.
Yeah, the infrared concept that a lot of people have to use when they get to climates. I hear a lot of people, I know even Amy's son, when he and his fiance moved to Portland from Texas, there was significant more cloud cover and just more dreariness because it doesn't rain like it does in Texas, where we call it a gully washer, where everything, you know, gets just washed away, you know, kind of mini monsoons kind of thing. When it rains, it just feels like, you know, in the thunder, it just feels like the skies get ripped open, that kind of stuff. And here in Oregon, it just kind of, it spits at you. It's a mist, a little bit heavier than a mist. And it'll just sit there like that, but it'll be there all day. And it won't just rain and get on with it. It just stays there. And so, yeah, the part of your eyes that are connected to light, they're missing that certain thing that says, hey, this is a full day. It's not just a morning or an evening dusk type of dawn. But, you know, anyway, all those things are things we have to think about. Steiner, you experienced it, like you said, when you were in the military, where you're up there on training far north, and you saw that extreme where it was just dark all the time. And then what happened to everybody? How'd they feel? They didn't feel good, did they?
You feel a bit tired all the time because you don't get the light you need.
Correct. Yeah, your mind's not telling you, hey, it's morning.
To boost your energy. Yeah,
we could have solved all this, because all we would need to do is go to Sabrina's house and find out what color of paint that she had to paint that door behind her, and we could have painted the entire dorm for the military there in northern Norway, and everybody would be perked up because they would go, "Wow, you know, this has got some pop to it." So good stuff. So, you know, when we're talking about excuse me, how to be better each day. I was going to cover a couple of things, and I appreciate each one of you kind of throwing stuff in. We want to talk about our gratefulness. I'm always training, you know, to understand what is this thing about positive psychology. Okay. So it's about gratefulness. It's about being thankful, but there's even more to it. So I keep unraveling, or what do you want to call it, peeling off the onion. You know, what are we trying to go to? We know that we want to perform better. We want to make our world better. We want to make our individual lives better. We want to have a greater impact. We want to affect our families. We want our children to be happy, right? We want them to accomplish things and not just have that, what do you want to call that, little fleeting moment, okay? But how do you go to that thing that we more reflect, or call in English, we'll call it joy. And I was just rewatching. In fact, I'm going to share this with everyone here. Hang on a second. I got to close this other screen show down so I can get to my other. I'm going to share. This is what I was listening this morning, and I'm going to share it in chat. And then if you're watching this by replay, then this will be in the description below. Okay, so this is it's a 1 hour discussion. I love Google Talks because Google understands as a organization. I don't even want to use the word company, but they're an organization, and they're now massive, as you know. #1 search engine online. Pretty much everything that goes on online, whether you're using Google Maps or whatever, they're connected in our life to many people on the planet. And I love when they do Google Talks, they bring the best people to speak to their employees, their members, their stakeholders. And they understand that helping people become better in their lives affects how they perform inside their company. Okay. So the talk here you'll see is by Sean Acor, that that this is kind of the whole concept that we've used here on Better Each Day. So the first 30 minutes of our 30-minute segments that become 90-minute masterclass, we focus on thankfulness and gratefulness and how do we increase our performance. The second session focuses on the compass and how we use the mechanics. And then the third one focuses on the actual concepts within the Rubicon system and how we can continue to improve ourselves. So I was watching this morning, Sean Acor. This was a piece that I had not seen yet. It's an hour long. And there's parts of it, obviously, when everyone gives talks about a particular subject matter that they're an expert in, you hear the overlaps, right? But what I'm always looking for, okay, what are the things that I've listened to? I don't know how many of Sean's discussions started with a TED talk with him talking about if you can learn to focus on gratefulness and be thankful in every day, then you get a 31% boost in your performance. And that's just not a fluffy number. That is an academic scientific number that he and his other fellows at Harvard studied it over a number of years, compiled the data, and then he actually took the data about 12 years ago and actually started traveling to many different companies like Google, like UBS in Zurich. That was actually his first talk right after the 2008 Great Recession. And he's spoken in hospitals and banks and obviously tech companies. And here's the key thing that I got out of his talk today is they found a rule. I forgot, I think it was, maybe it was Four Seasons, or I forgot which one of the major luxury hotel chains. And they have a rule that's called 10-5. And he brought this up because he stumbled into it during his research. And that is, if you come within 10 foot of someone, okay, you have to make eye contact and you have to smile. That's the rule. If you come within 5 feet of them, then you have to greet them with obviously eye contact, a smile, and you ask them, how are you doing today? And you give them a warm greeting. And so they decided to take that same concept, of course, when you're in a luxury hotel, that makes people feel welcome, makes them feel they're appreciated, makes them feel recognized, okay? That's the big thing that people are missing in our world, okay? They feel many times when people are going through depression or anxiety, they feel disconnected from society. So when you see someone, whether it's in a mall or, having some coffee or whatever, and you start practicing this 10-5 rule, what you do is there's a thing that they found in science called motor neurons. There's motor neurons and there's mirror neurons. And what happens is when you smile at someone and you give them a greeting or just the acknowledgement of looking at another person, and maybe it's just a little nod, you have to be comfortable with, making sure it's with societal norms, but that forces them unconsciously, their mirror neurons, mirror as M-I-R-R-O-R, duplicates that. So when you smile at someone, and not the fake smile, but what's his name? The Apple evangelist, Kawasaki. He talks about when you give this expression, this real genuine smile that comes up out of your soul, you actually see there's like little wrinkles right here, and there's the other little wrinkles right here on your eyes because it's genuine. And when you give a fake smile, those little wrinkles don't show up. Okay, so people can actually tell when you go, oh, that's a fake smile, or wow, that was a genuine smile. You actually know that by looking, because you can see when the smile actually takes over the face and all the little wrinkles show up. That's someone actually showing genuine smile. So when you smile at someone and you give them that acknowledgement, recognition, they can't help but their mind, their mirror neurons mirror that, and they smile back. They don't even know they're smiling. But what you have done for that individual is you have changed the trajectory of their day. You have made that difference simply by using that, passing along. You don't just have a stop and conversation with them. I'm not talking about going that far. It's just that acknowledgement, right? That smile, that genuine smile, that you're smiling at another human being. That in your head, as he was talking about in this discussion today at Google, we are all identical. You can say, well, I'm a negative, I'm a pessimist, or I am a positive person, I'm an optimist. But the distinction between negative and positive, or pessimism and optimism, is unique to this. When events happen to us in our life, that's the neutral, okay? Everybody's all the same right there. It is what you do. It is the reaction that you have, how you choose to react or respond. Okay, and I'll give this to you in a distinction. When you react, you are functioning from your amygdala, your lizard brain, if you will, more of the center cortex, okay? And if you're not a, quote, naturally optimistic, happy person, and you're not walking down the hallway, skipping, la, 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 like that, you're more of a solemn person like me, okay? My mind is focused. I'm a little too intense. I'm usually, like my dad trained me all the time, so when I'm going somewhere, I'm going from point A to point B. So I don't lollygag. That was a term that I heard when I grew up. I've never heard it before. Don't lollygag, okay? I think everybody knows where it comes from. You get the idea, lollygag. But don't dawdle, I think, is another term, okay? I don't meander, okay? I move, what I was told is move on a mission, be on purpose. And that was drilled into me all the time. Move on a mission, be on purpose. So I don't know how to lollygag. I don't know how to meander. I move. I decide where I'm going today on my run or walk or climb or whatever. Guess what? Boom, I execute. So that doesn't allow for the meandering thing. So I have to focus on that. But my general disposition is not that I'm walking, skipping, and smiling at people. That's not me, because why? My head is usually dealing with a problem or challenge that's in my business world somewhere, either my business that I'm working in or someone else's that I've connected with. My mind feels like it's always crunching. How can we solve that situation? Or what is a different way of thinking about it that we can think about it, change the way we think, and maybe find a different avenue to come up with another solution that no one's thought about yet. So my mind is usually, that's what it crunches on when I'm awake all day. So to me, to make a difference in this world, I have to make a conscious decision. It's not a reaction for me, it's a response. And the response is a conscious decision that comes from the neocortex, which is the big front of our brain. So it goes back to this thing called discipline, habit, okay? And so now that I've shared this idea with you, I want to share one concept here. Let's see, where do I want to go with this? Oh, here it is.
But this thing works.
Go ahead, Steiner.
Yeah, I've tested it. I test it from time to time.
Tell me about
it. It works. Yeah, it works very good.
Well,
people smile back.
They do smile back. And how do you feel when people smile back at you?
Then you also feel joy.
Yeah, you feel joy. Exactly. So I'm gonna kind of blow this up a little bit here so we can see this a little better from current slides. Let's go.
Hey, Steve, and unfortunately in the medical profession, we're still doing masks after almost 2.5 years. So
Sure.
we don't see people's faces. It's hilarious because, I mean, you can kind of tell someone's smiling at you if you see the eyes, right?
Well, I'll actually give you, this is interesting because Sean was actually talking about this in this conversation, or in this link that I just gave you. Okay, so before we finish this, I'm glad you brought that up. So they do this experiment with different groups. And what you do is you find a partner and you have to turn your chair toward them. And what happens is for 7 seconds, one person has to be neutral. Okay, they can't respond. They're not supposed to do anything. They just sit in their chair, but you're basically chair to chair. And the other person simply looks deeply into their eyes and has a thought in their mind about how they really wish this other person to have a really extraordinary day and they want their life to be superb. Okay, it's a thought in your mind, and they can look, when you look in the eyes, even if they have a smile that comes from that, the other person isn't supposed to respond. They're supposed to stay neutral. And how many times do you think the other person who's supposed to stay neutral was able to stay neutral?
Never.
About 77 to 80% of the time, the person ends up smiling unconsciously. Why? Because it's the mirror neurons that we talked about just a few seconds ago. They're not meaning to smile, but they actually feel the vibration of this other person that's, within, an arm's distance of them, that's looking into their eyes and demonstrating human to human that they wish them the best and that they care about them. Okay, the natural response from the person consciously thinking about this might be a smile that comes across their face, but what happens, the other person 80% of the time can't help but not respond with a smile. So interesting thing, they were doing this experiment, and one of the places, I think he said he was in Abu Dhabi, and it was 300 women in a group. And as they decided to do this expression, guess what? Most of them had that veil that was across the mouth part of your face, right? Because it's their custom, it's their tradition that's women wear that veil, right? Here's the interesting thing though, it still worked. Why? Because you could still see the eyes. The eyes still deliver the expression. Okay, so even if we're still wearing masks today, that you have to from being in the medical profession, people not only will see the eyes, but they can feel, they intuit the vibe. Okay, so just like Sabrina's got this incredible pink orange door, I think maybe is the combination together. Okay, and it gives you that spark. Okay, yeah, it's really great. And so why can't we do that same kind of thing? We don't have to carry the door around with us, okay, to give everybody this great expression of wow, okay? Why can't we just do that with how we give our expression, okay? So does that make sense, David? That we can still, even without the mask, it still works. People feel people, okay?
Well, you can hear it too in the voice.
Oh, sure, yeah, and that's the other thing too. But see, that's their experiment was, in the 10-5 rule at the Four Seasons, you're not engaging in a conversation with everybody that you're walking down the hall. And they actually took this experiment when you listen to the link, and they took this to a major hospital. I think it was in the Miami area. Okay. And what do you think about these grumpy, grouchy, academically, advanced doctors? What do you think they thought about when they brought them this experiment about be sure and smile when you walk within 10 feet of someone? And say something kind to them if you're within 5. What do you think those doctors said? You think they were excited? No, they weren't excited about the experiment. In fact, they didn't want to do the experiment. So they grumbled about it. Oh, well, I'm here to save people's lives, and I've been to medical school, and I'm very smart and brilliant, and I don't want to smile at people because I'm academic or whatever. Okay. And so they were very negative. Okay. But guess what? There was thousands of people in the hospital, big hospital network, that Sean was working with. So that meant all of the support staff, all the technicians, all the people that were in the nursing staff, you name it. And none of them had a negative attitude. They wanted to use the experiment. So what do you think happened when everybody, maybe except a small percentage of the medical doctors that thought this was a stupid deal, this is childish, this is something that's elementary, I don't care if Harvard came up with it, I'm a doctor and I frown all the time, right? what happened is this trauma hospital that was used to dealing with nothing but stress, stress, stress all day long. It had a dramatic change, not just in the quality of the atmosphere that the employees themselves worked in, but unbeknownst, because the employees were going through this practice, the doctors started smiling too. But guess who else got affected?
Patient.
Yes. And what happened when the patients got infected with someone smiling and caring about them and recognizing them, what do you think happened with the rate of referral that the patients that had been to the hospital, what do you think happened with the referral rate of them recommending other people to come to the hospital? Went up or down? It went up significantly, okay? Now, when you had referral rates and people happy with the results that they had at the hospital, guess what? The same doctors with the same level of education, the same expertise, were working on them just the same way that they were working on them months ago before they decided to try this happiness experiment. So what changed? Was the quality of the doctors any better? Were the quality of the nurses, were their medical protocols any different? No, all that was identical. So why did people start referring other people to this hospital and their business skyrocketed? They felt somebody literally cared about them. Not someone was just sitting here to fix their medical pain. They felt human to human that there was a connection with that organization, not with a dead corporation called a hospital, but with an organization that is a group of people. They felt that someone truly cared simply by looking at them, noticing them, making that eye contact, greeting them. Sometimes that comes with a little bit of a nod. That's all you need to do, whether you're 10 feet of someone. And if you move within 5 feet of someone, then it's simply a greeting. How are you today? Hope you have a great day. Something that's not trying to have a full-blown conversation with them because you're passing, you're busy, you're on down the road. Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
At Dartmouth, at a 450 bed hospital, I noticed that all the white coats are all grumpy and hardly say hi back. There's one physical therapist, he was old school, named Steve, and he's always smiling, laughing, patting on his patient's back and doing, hey, you did a good job, you did great today. And people puff out their chest when they leave. And my buddy Chad and I goes, you don't even have to do any therapy. He goes, you just get a little pat on the back from Steve and you feel 25% placebo effect better.
Sure.
And it really works because I've traded probably over 80,000 patients in 25 years, but I try and tell them, hey, we can work on this, but you know what? You did really awesome today. I really like this about you. It was fantastic. I have an old Vietnam vet in a wheelchair in a nursing home here, and he hasn't stood in a while. He's missing a shoulder joint. He's got Parkinson's. Life is pretty crappy, but he's got grit.
Yeah.
And he said yesterday, we stood for the third time yesterday. We stand just 3 times. He can't move his arms. He's got good leg power. He's in a wheelchair. He's got a pain pump for Parkinson's. He's in rough shape. And he goes, you know, most people wouldn't try and stand like this. He's got Harrington rods in his back, affected through Agent Orange, all this. And
Sure.
and the thing that it gave back to me, I said, you know what? I said, and the whole time I've been here, you made me feel like I'm making a difference. I said, so I appreciate that about you. And I appreciate how hard you work.
Right.
And so, and then I hear on the back end from the nurse, they go, hey, that guy's really excited you're standing with him. So that puffs me up, it puffs him up. Everyone's excited. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Outstanding. That's really good.
Great.
And here's the deal. It's sincere. It was a sincere compliment you gave from the center of your soul. It connected to him. And then it came back. That's the cool thing about the reciprocation, is when we're good to other people, we're sincere, we're genuine, we're authentic. And if our intent is nothing but to help another person have a better day, and that comes with a acknowledgement, a smile. And if they're close into us, you know, within 5 feet, we make that extra acknowledgement with something verbal. Then that ripple effect, not only does it come back to us possibly immediately, but you create a ripple effect in the world. So that person, you alter the trajectory of their day. the rest of the day, the people that they meet further down the hallway as you pass them, the other people they meet at the grocery store or at the office, they go home to their family, they're in a better mood. And so they're a little kinder. Maybe they give that acknowledgement back to what? Their child. So you made a difference in their life, a ripple effect through them. And they end up giving positive acknowledgement to their child about a report card or something they did today. And the child's life is better. So if we live our lives to make the world a better place, and making the world a better place is not only other adults, but also how we impact the adults that end up impacting the next generation. That's important. And if we can help our world understand that that extra response, not your reaction is to ignore people. I'm busy, I'm focused, I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. And then when you realize that, hey, that little bit of a habit of acknowledgement, you're here, you're important, you matter, I'm smiling at you so that you have a nice day, you know that I'm smiling from a genuine standpoint. And that creates this nice ripple effect. All of us can do that. It takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of a habit in the mind. Okay, cool. So I just put the link in here for our next 30 minutes. We got to jump off this one and then we'll come back on here in 30 seconds. So I'll see you on the next session. Thanks for being here.